Hello folks, and welcome back to Whiskey Wars. My name is Sean, and tonight we're going to be reviewing OKI Reserve. Let's get into it. All right, here's our bottle, OKI Reserve, a blended bourbon whiskey. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So first off, what does OKI stand for? Well, it stands for Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. But even though that may be what the brand stands for, this is distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which means it's MGP. So all this is MGP, and what it is pretty complicated. So there's low rye bourbon, there's high rye bourbon, there's 95.5 rye whiskey, there's rye corn whiskey, and then there's light whiskey. So I don't know how this qualifies as a bourbon. You know, you can mix in rye to a degree and it be bourbon, although when you look at the breakdown on the back, let's see if you guys can see that. Can you see that? See the breakdown there? Yeah, there's a lot of rye in this. Now, I didn't go through and do the math and percentages and all that stuff, but yeah, so for it to be a bourbon, as you probably know, it has to be at least 51% corn. And this mash bill probably does contain enough, although there is a lot of rye in here. So it's a very high rye bourbon, nearly a boo rye. But then you have this light whiskey, and that's 23.7% of what's in this bottle. So that's a large percentage of this bottle that's light whiskey. And of course, light whiskey is not aged in new charred oak barrels, therefore it's not bourbon, so I don't know how OKI got away with calling this a bourbon. Yeah, it's a little sketchy, little sus. But anyway, let's get into this guy here and see whatever the heck this monstrosity is all about, because it is a crazy blend for sure. There's a ton of stuff in here. It's all MGP. Yeah, so let's see what it's all about. I'll roll this thing around a little bit here. Get into this nose. Very nice nose. Nice brown sugar note. Nice, little bit of a minty note. A little bit of like a cherry Twizzler licorice coming through there. Nice caramel. Also, yeah, the mint note is like a sweet spearmint, not like a peppermint on the nose anyway. Almost like a Coca-Cola note on the nose, so that's nice. Little bit of, and there's also like this burnt sugar, kind of like the top of a creme brulee. It's kind of that going on the nose. Little bit of a chocolate note there. Nice charred notes. Nice charred, toasty oak notes. Yeah, that Coca-Cola note is really nice. I gotta say, I'm enjoying the nose. Let's go ahead and get into this sip though. Nice nose, let's get to what matters. So as you can see, I've had this bottle for a little while because I was trying to figure out how I felt about it. I will say, it has gotten better with air. Upon first opening this, it was a little bit all over the place. That's kind of toned down some, and it's kind of melded or mixed with itself or whatever the heck. It's more, I don't know what I can't think of the word I'm looking for here, but it's working better together now, because it was really all over the place. Now it's a little more, I don't know, like a bourbon. So, front of the palate, very nice sweetness. Nice brown sugars, caramels, all your typical bourbon stuff. And then mid-palate, it does fall apart a little bit. There's kind of this low point in the mid-palate where it's just kind of like a general sweetness. There isn't really any great notes coming through. It kind of gets a little thin for a second. And then it kind of transforms into that. Like the back of the palate going into the finish is where the rye presence starts to come out. And then you get like these minty notes, kind of the chocolate, nice charred notes, a little more spice coming through. The problem with the mid palate is it's a little muddy. It just kind of falls apart mid palate, and there's just kind of, it's just kind of like a one note mid palate. I don't know. It's probably because of all the stuff that's blended together. Like the front of the palate's nice, mid palate's just kind of blah, and then back of the palate is kind of more like a rye. So it's interesting. Let's go for another sip and see what else we can get out of it, and also focus on the finish. Here we go. I will say you do get that Coca-Cola note kind of on mid to back of the palate, so that's nice. I do like that note. There's a little bit of chocolatiness in there as well. But I think my biggest issue with this bottle is the back and the finish. It's the finish. It gets a little bit piney. Like, I don't know if you've ever chewed on pine needles. I don't know why you would, but I just kind of imagine what that would be like. And not like pine saw, but like actual pine. It's a little bit like, you know, raw wood, piney. The finish is not great to me. There is other things going on there, but that pine note kind of ruins it for me. I don't know. Like the front of the palate's nice, mid palate's kind of whatever, back of the palate is decent, and then the finish is kind of blah. So yeah, so let's go ahead and rate this thing. This is an $80 bottle. And I think that's where it gets into some trouble, because there's a lot of ups and downs. Some of it's good, some of it's not great. Some of it's just whatever. So 80 bucks, this bottle. You know what? The more I think about it, when I think about what else I can get for $80, I don't know that this is above average. That kind of puts it in a bad spot, because average means a 5 on this channel. I don't think it's above average for $80. I really don't. So, like 4.6. Yeah, I'm gonna go 4.6. Sorry, OKI. I don't really get what you're trying to do. It's a little all over the place. It's kind of a mess. And I think there's better bottles for 80 bucks. I think there's a lot of bottles that are better for 80 bucks. So yeah, there you go, folks. That's my review. You know, if you've tried it, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you like it more than me. Maybe you think the crazy mess works for you. I don't know. Either way, let me know. Also, if this review has been helpful, hit that like button. And here is more reviews from us, so you can check those out. And here's the subscribe button, so please do that. Until next time, folks, just remember, you can never have too much good whiskey.